Hey guys, I am so excited to be here today with Radivision, the network for entrepreneurs. My name is Kate Talbot. I am born and bred Bay Area, so super into entrepreneurship, Silicon Valley, and that just runs in my blood. So it's so excited to be here. In my own, I am a senior Forbes contributor. I work and interview entrepreneurs every single day that I am inspired by. I run my own consulting agency, working with venture capital firms, and I also write all about social media. So without further ado, I am so excited to be here with Buddy Healthcare CEO Jussi Mata. He is based out of Finland, and this is just such an exciting time because it's a global conversation that we're having that universally we're all experiencing with COVID-19. So without further ado, I'd love to hear about yourself.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Jussi Mata. I'm CEO and founder of Buddy Healthcare. I'm from Finland. Buddy Healthcare is providing care automation platform for hospital that helps hospitals to automate and digitalize patient journey from home to hospital and from hospital to back home. I'm pleased to be here, Kate. Let's have a good chat today.
Definitely. So I'm based here in San Francisco right now. It's 10 a.m. I know it's a lot later in Finland, but if you could just tell me about what your life is like right now in Finland and what everything is happening in Finland right now.
I think that of course things are not normal, but I think that things are now in new normal, so to say. The situation in Finland is quite stable. We have really low number of new cases at the moment. Everything is open, schools are open, there are no quarantines in place. People need to wear masks when using public transportation. Some of the biggest sport events have been still cancelled or they are playing without an audience, but that's it. And typically inside of Finland, we don't have epidemic in place, and majority of the cases that are found in Finland have been brought abroad, mainly from Central Europe or Southern Europe. So, and of course, I don't hope that we would close the borders, and that I don't see that happening. But the other countries are the sources of major infections right now.
Well, I think all the people who are watching from the States are quite jealous of your ability to not have children at home, not being able to see other people and all that. So why don't we watch your video about what Buddy Healthcare is, and then we can really get down into it.
The Buddy Care app, with its real-time and easily understandable instructions, ensures that patients are always aware of the next steps on their care path. The Buddy Care dashboard allows care personnel to identify those patients who have deviated from the expected care plan. This helps them more efficiently allocate resources to those patients most in need of help and guidance during the care process. In the mobile app, patients receive all the information they need about their upcoming procedure, such as automatic notifications about the most important instructions they are to follow. The app allows patients to easily navigate throughout the entire care path and acknowledge instructions when they are read and understood. On the other hand, care personnel may also notice that patients have not acknowledged important timeline events, and, for example, send messages based on this. Patients instantly get the information and may then proceed further. After the procedure, with the help of a user-friendly scale, patients can submit details about the pain they are experiencing. The patient can also submit a photograph of their post-op wound as well as more information about their recovery. Care personnel may check in the app's dashboard how the pain has developed and then intervene if necessary. The system also generates automatic reports based on the patient's answers. If you wish to know more about the Buddy Care solution or want to schedule a demo, please contact care@buddyhealthcare.com and we'll show you how the solution can be customized according to your needs.
Awesome. Well, I'm just looking at this from a startup point of view. So correct me if I'm wrong here. It's a B2B, B2C kind of startup that helps out connect hospitals to their patients to streamline the process, to be able to make it a lot easier so people, when they go into the hospital, can feel more confident, and when they're at home, they can communicate efficiently. So that's what I'm getting from it, but I'm sure you have so much more. Maybe you want to just describe it a bit.
Yeah, you are correct. I would call it purely B2B. So we sell to hospitals, and then hospitals give it to patients and prescribe the app for the patients. So of course, patient is there. It's a consumer. That is the original source why we have actually built a solution. But from business point of view, it's just for really heavy enterprise B2B business.
Yeah, and so you work with the hospitals to provide this your technology, and how has that helped them out?
Actually, our results are pretty good, I would say, and maybe a little bit history. I'm here in Finland, but actually the whole story started in the US. My background is in software business, been working in different positions like a business developer, program manager, even as a developer in early times. And before founding Body Healthcare, I was a business developer in another health IT company here in Finland. But with that company, I had a road trip in the US, and where I met a couple of hospitals. The hospitals didn't buy the solution I was selling at that time, but I ended up in a discussion with one children's hospital in the Midwest who started telling me about their challenges with their new outpatient surgery center. So they basically tell that in the outpatient surgery center, they have more than 10,000 operations per year. During the worst weeks, like in the flu season, even 17% of operations are canceled. In addition to that, their nurses spend around 60 to 75 minutes per patient only with pre-op patients, phone calls, papers, and after the operation, they didn't have any clue how patients are recovering, are they satisfied or not. And I somehow got interested of these challenges. When I came back to Finland, I discussed with a couple of hospitals here and learned that, okay, they share the same challenges, and then suddenly one thing led to another, and we ended up founding Body Healthcare. Mm-hmm. And it's around 4.5 years ago when we founded, and now we are covering with our solution about 70% of all the hospitals here in Finland.
Wow, that's incredible. Such growth in such a short amount of time. And then with that, what I think is so interesting is that there obviously have always, in the last couple of years, been the relationship with technology and the hospitals for the consumer side, but also the hospitals to get kind of that NPS score, it sounds like, that they get at the end. So what has that been like for the hospitals to be able to have that information?
To be honest, it has been really difficult. So earlier, the NPS score is pretty much that the patient has been sent a paper letter after the hospital visit, rate your answer. Did you like us? What didn't you like? Why did you like? But what does hospital do actually with this kind of answer where they don't know context, they don't have any understanding or idea which patient it is, who's the doctor who's been treating the patient, who are the nurses caring about the patient. So now with actually our solution, a hospital can have really short questionnaires even in the middle of the care. For example, immediately after admission, you can ask a couple of questions. How was your experience? Immediately after the discharge, you can ask, did you get enough instructions? Is everything good at home? So in that point, hospital have a context. What's the patient? What is his disease? Who's the doctor? Who are the nurses? So they actually have a meaningful data that they can use to improve the care in the future.
Definitely, and being able to, get that feedback and make improvements not only helps in the short term, but definitely in the long term. So do you have an example of one of your clients or customer hospitals that have, really built a great relationship with Body Healthcare and seen a really great success story from it?
Yeah, so of course our key customers are here in Finland. So Tampere University Hospital here, for example, their ENT outpatient surgery clinic. So with their nurses have calculated that they have saved around 50% of the time they typically use in a patient preparation, like phone calls, patient guidance, all the papers, and I have to mention they've been basically able to eliminate all the phone calls. And phone calls for a typical person people who's not in the hospital, phone calls sounds like, okay, one phone call from hospital takes a minute or two, but in reality, one phone call from hospital takes around 30 minutes because nurse is calling you, you are working, you don't answer, then you call back when you have a lunch break, nurse is having a lunch break, then she calls back you, opens your healthcare data. So it actually takes altogether 30 minutes to have one phone call with the patient. So that's the one example. Another example is another clinic here. They basically had a cancellation and no-show rate of 12%, and after deploying our tool, they've been able to put that down to 6%. So actually reducing 50% of all the cancellations and in these operations. And you can imagine what's the benefit for hospital not to have an empty OR room or doctors waiting for the next patient, but actually operating all the patients in a row. And not even talking about patients and the feedback that patients have given, like they are used to use mobile phones in banks, in shopping, but still healthcare is running behind like 30, 40 years in technology. Patients are still used to receive paper invitation letters or something like that, and now everything is in your app all the time with you. You can chat with your care provider, but that's not the point. The point is that patient has all the time data, instructions, information, questionnaires, follow-ups they need to have on the given day.
No, that's great. I mean, the efficiency that you guys are providing for the hospital staff and the doctors, I'm sure, is cutting so many costs for the bottom line for the hospitals, as well as giving back time to the doctors and the nurses that need it the most because they're just working nonstop, especially now. So I'm sure it's great that they have all the data in front of them and be able to manage their times even better. So this is all in Finland right now, but what is your expansion? Because I know that you're in the US originally, and you're probably thinking about how you can utilize this technology globally. And I know I'm part of Kaiser Permanente, and I can also take a photo and send it to the hospital. And there's obviously, being in Silicon Valley, having a lot of data at our fingertips and using technology. But I'm sure like going to the Midwest or other places where tech isn't, the forefront, what is that? What has that experience been like?
Yeah, to be honest, we don't have that many things going on yet. In the US, we have like at the moment, actually one customer there. I, of course, see US being really interesting target market, definitely the biggest healthcare market in the world. I think that the healthcare business is about twice the size we have in Europe. So definitely interested. I think that we are soon ready to US explosion. I've seen a rising amount of leads coming from the US to our website, even contacting us. But however, we are far away at the moment. It's not allowed to travel to US. So I'm lucky to have this interview here, hear your thoughts and share my story.
Definitely. And do you have it's kind of like scrolling back to like the beginning origin story of this, you were in the tech scene for so long, but then you transitioned to a founder. So do you have any like why this came about more, like something that relates to you as more of like a family or a human perspective of why you want to build this? Because you're obviously changing lives. I'm sure there's some great backstory.
Yes, indeed. Like my family background, my mother is a nurse. My dad has been working in the healthcare business or in pharma business, but we don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. But still, I've been always interested in entrepreneurship, trying different kind of businesses. I started my first website business already when I was 15 years old. But since that, I also grew up in corporations. But all the time I had a feeling that in a corporation I cannot do enough, and I know that I have capabilities. And I like typically founders should have. Founders should be the jack of all trades, really cleaning at some day, but also understanding about everything in the company in order to be able to lead the business. So that's been my vision to become an entrepreneur. And I started actually my first own business or not first own business, but my first own adult time business on 2012. And that was 1 year's experience. The business failed completely. I learned a lot. I call that being my entrepreneurial MBA. And then after that experience, I moved to this company with whom I came up with the idea of Body Healthcare. But there's also a personal story. So pretty much a couple of months after my trip in the US in Midwest, my small daughter had a minor operation here in Helsinki, and I was meeting a doctor on clinical visit who said that, okay, you have to have an operation, and the hospital handed me around 10 pages of papers, instructions, questionnaires, and I lost the papers. I felt pretty guilty being like a bad dad calling back to hospital. Hey, what should I do next? When is the operation actually? And on the operation day, I discussed with a couple of nurses and doctors what they are doing, and I understood how poorly digitalized healthcare still is towards the patients. And that was like the final signal. This is what I want to do.
Definitely, that was at your aha moment of, I want to be an entrepreneur. I grew up in this, background with doctors and nurses all around me, but I want to make a change to make it easier for those new parents that are just trying to juggle it all and probably also nervous about their children going into surgery, and alleviating those fears. So it's great that you were able to take that pain point for yourself and then bring that to the mass audience. You kind of touched upon a co-founder, but could you kind of tell me about your team a little bit more?
Yeah, we have quite experienced and quite interesting, versatile team. So at the moment we have 16 people, around half working on business side, around half working on with the tech. We have people, basically majority of them are here in Helsinki, Finland. We have a couple of guys in Germany, which is at the moment our second important market. And in addition to that, in our team, in teams in Finland and Germany, we have 7 different nationalities. So we have really international team even here. We have nurses, engineers, some healthcare people, medical engineers. So really versatile match, and I really believe that that's one of the reasons we've been able to build the business we today have. Like
Totally.
really talented guys and folks.
Yeah, it's all about the team that really makes it what it is. And it sounds also great that you have kind of that, not just, a regular salesperson, but you have like medical insights that help understand why this product would be best to bring to market. And you're really tapping into so many different backgrounds and understanding what the pain points are. What do you guys see for your next kind of product iteration? What's coming out next?
I don't want to tell too much, but I see.
So we don't have to go.
You'll see soon.
Awesome. We'll be waiting for that. Kind of switching gears then. You're an entrepreneur. You kind of talked a little bit about that. Who inspires you? Who inspired you to become an entrepreneur beyond, your family and your friends? Was there anybody in the limelight that really got to, like, you saw succeed and you wanted to follow in those footsteps?
I don't think I have never really followed any entrepreneurs, so to say. So it's maybe a cliche, but maybe the Richard Branson is one who has given the most inspiration, but still not that much that he could have given. So it's more like I've been a person who wants to build own road. I want to build everything myself. Of course, at some point it's really good to be able to delegate, but still it's just my own will to be able to build something, create something that is useful for the others, and that's definitely the main driver behind. when I was in high school, I also played ice hockey quite professionally. In fact, around maybe 3 or 4 of my former teammates have played in NHL after that.
Wow.
So I wasn't even close to that, but still I've been playing in a good company, and I think that I actually get more inspiration for athletes than typically entrepreneurs. And I see there being a lot of same things, like in ice hockey team, you have to be a team player, you have to be build together with others, but still you have to perform 100% every single day.
Definitely, like the athleticism is, you see so many entrepreneurs who have that athletic background because they're so used to, waking up early, working really, really hard and achieving on the team with the team, but then also having, like, whether you're a student athlete, you're also getting grades, or, if you're professional, you still have a family and other business things in the background. So it's great that you're inspired by your teammates. And I don't know if you know this, but I used to work with Virgin running their social. So I'm also inspired by Richard Branson. He's great. And he's an inspiration to really go outside the box and try something new. But also, I think at the end of the day, also thinking about how you can help your customers to really live a better life. And it sounds like you're doing that with Buddy Healthcare as well. So I know you work really closely with the hospitals more on the B2B side, but do you have any success stories more from the customer point of view that you know of?
Customer point of view, of course. Basically, the majority of the customers, they share the same challenges, they have the same solutions, they have pretty much the same results. So maybe a couple of really interesting points that I want to maybe highlight in this is that, for example, when we started, we had first cases. I remember one doctor telling that, hey, you have this anesthesia pre-questionnaire here in a mobile format. So what if the patient lies in a questionnaire? So it would be a huge damage patient telling wrong information to them. And I asked from the doctor that, why would patient answer when lie when using a mobile application? They can similarly lie when writing the answer to the paper. So so why do you ask that? And for some reason, doctor didn't really trust the information patient provided. But what we have actually learned now in couple of years, and after thousands of the patients, we have actually recognized that, for example, patients using our application, they consume more alcohol than the people who don't use our application. And that maybe tells that actually people are answering more honestly with a mobile phone.
Totally. It's, if nobody's checking you out, then you can say whatever you want. And also that liquid courage also helps tell the patient or tell the customer what else is out there. That is really funny. That's a really good insight. You should, do a little video about that, because that would make people really happy to know that the best feedback comes with the class.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then kind of going back to your team, what's the breakdown? I know in Silicon Valley, we're all about diversity, and that's a really big thing in the forefront. So how is that like in Finland? I know it's a different demographic, but I know that's something like I'm really passionate about, and I just want to know what that's looking like across the world.
We are quite demographic. I think that we have really equal team. We have around, what would I say nowadays, maybe 60% are men, 40% are women in our team, so quite equal from that point of view as well. I think that majority of our recent hires have been women, and when building a versatile team, so what I have also learned is that majority of our customer interface people, they are nurses as their background, because I have learned that when you go to hospital, and me as an entrepreneur or engineer, I may feel, nurses and even doctors may feel that this guy is so far away from us, he doesn't understand what he's doing, he's an engineer. But when I bring a nurse to hospital, so hospital and doctors and nurses can immediately relate to her or him. They can immediately trust. They feel that, okay, this company must know what we want because they have hired nurses. So that works pretty well. Yeah.
No, that's great. I love hearing about companies that are doing even, gender split. That's awesome. And it will help out the next generation of entrepreneurs out there to see that and reflect that in their next iteration of their own idea. So kind of going off of that, when I interview entrepreneurs, I always love asking this question because I think it's so helpful. And I know that as an entrepreneur myself, I've had to learn a lot along the way. So what are 3 lessons you've learned and the advice that you would give to up and coming entrepreneurs?
First of all, is the first most important thing is that as a founder, you always know your business best. Of course, it's great to have advisors around you, but I think that especially in the beginning, young founders may listen them too much, and they may feel that, okay, I don't know anything and these advisors know everything. It's really good to hear signals from advisors, but in the end of the day, you as a founder, you know your business best. So you have to trust your own capabilities. That's definitely the most important message that I can share. The other one is that follow your heart. So pretty much the same, but a little bit different angle. You have to, first one is trusting your hard facts, but the other thing is that don't do anything that you don't feel being right. So even if it hurts or you think that by following my heart, I will give up of some new business or something like that. But if you feel that something is wrong, don't do that. That's definitely second experience. And third one is I don't know if this is a hint, but freedom. So when I think about being an entrepreneur, the first feeling or thought I always get is freedom to select when to work, how to work, where to work. But in fact, when being an entrepreneur, you end up working like 150% of that time that you used to work when you were an employee. I could basically work everywhere, but still I spend my times at office or traveling. Of course, now recently, actually I have understood. I think that I have understood it now during the COVID times while working mainly at home, that you can really lead the business also at home. And I think that I will also respect my freedom even after COVID times, in a way that I start working a little bit more from home. Even I hope that I can also travel, not only for business, but also with my family and work wherever I am. So really, you as an entrepreneur, remember to enjoy the freedom you have. You always have a responsibility. You cannot give up with that, but you still have a freedom, and you have to take the time to enjoy that freedom as well.
Totally. I'm gonna tell you about, I think, in a second, but before then, I'm gonna invite everybody who's watching, please ask some questions on YouTube Live on the Radivision channel. So just drop them below and we will get to them. But kind of going to your point, which I really love, because I think freedom is so important for entrepreneurship. I mean, why take the risk? Why make your whole life crazy if you can't have any of the freedom? And at the end of the day, being able to go on a trip or travel with your family or whatever it is, to be able to enjoy your life. And I think that, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and, they give advice about, being able to fail or all these other things. But I think the fact that you brought up freedom is such an important point, because as for myself as an entrepreneur, that's one of my main drivers. And I think so many people, especially during COVID, are feeling, inside, we're on month 6 over here inside. So the fact that they get to be free when we're able to do so is just a really important factor. And I think that's not talked enough about in the levels of entrepreneurship. I think that there's a lot of not negativity, but it's, gosh, like, this is hard. But I think when you focus on the positives, like you said, with freedom or following your heart, that's really what is great about it, is that you get to really enjoy the fruits of your labor and do it on your own time and be the boss. So it's great that you have that. Do we have any questions from the audience yet? Not yet. Okay, well, we will wait. So you talked about your family. Okay, so let's backtrack actually. What's going on with COVID? Let me phrase this right. COVID in Finland sounds like it's on a healthy path, but how did you guys help out during that time when people were in the sheltering in place? How is Buddy Healthcare involved in that?
Yeah, actually, we've been really focused on helping our customers automating their pathways, and when the COVID really hit on in March, our first reaction was that, okay, everyone is developing something for COVID. We won't do that. We will continue the business and customers we had on that time. But then actually our customers started calling us that, your solution would be really good for actually following up with the patients who have diagnosed a COVID or who have symptoms, but they are not severe enough for a hospitalization. But we still need to track and follow up with those patients recovering at home on daily basis. So your application would be really good for that. And for 2 weeks, I said, no, we don't want to get there. We just want to continue with the work we've been doing. And but after quite many phone calls, we spent 1 weekend actually creating a new pathway for COVID patient follow-up, and after that, in 4 weeks, it was used by a couple of hospitals here in Finland and a couple of hospitals in Germany. So it really paid off, and the feedback what we have got after that is that patients who the solution is actually that you go to home, you have to stay in quarantine, you may have fever, you may have other symptoms, and hospital can easily automate the follow-up with you on daily basis, track the symptoms, and then invite you in the hospital if they see that symptoms are severe enough. And for hospital, it automates, it reduces phone calls, helps nurses to focus really on the patients who need their help, and from a patient perspective, it gives a feeling that someone is helping you, someone is tracking you, keeping eye on you, caring about you. So that's what we've done here.
I really love that idea of somebody's caring for you, because
But I actually have to say that I'm really disappointed that the COVID is so in good situation in Finland, because it means that our customers are not using our product. But
yeah, I know with surgery and everything that it affected elective surgery so much. But I think what's really neat is that you said it's there for you. So it's almost interesting, because sometimes we forget that, you could be single or alone during COVID, and it's really scary. If you didn't have somebody to take you to the hospital or ask you about your symptoms, and the fact that you have this technology that's almost like a partner there for you to ask you all these things and to check in with you about how you're feeling, and making it more comfortable, the situation, because obviously it's been an uncomfortable time, and the fact that there's technology that can help you, really feel safe, especially since it was so in the unknown in the beginning. I feel like a little bit now we have more information, more data, everything. But I know for myself, I've been with my boyfriend, but I think it's really scary to be by yourself during this time. So it's great that there's a lot of technology, and you guys have implemented a way for the customer to have a conversation with the hospital and feel like they have somebody there that's helping them out. So that's really incredible what you guys have created.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too. But I really hope that no new customers will anymore take our application in use, and I hope that we return in a normal time at some point.
Agree. Is there anything else you want to add? We're still waiting for questions. So if there's any questions that you guys have, again, you see, please put in the comments below. But Anything that you just want to add about this whole time, and just, we have a couple late breaking news. We have a couple of questions. They're
Great.
coming on in. Just give it us a second over here. Then we will read them out and it will all work out. So here we go. George Harrison, not of the Beatles. What are some of the mistakes you wish you could have avoided?
Well, at some point, some dark nights, I would say that starting the company, but not anymore. Yeah, to be honest, if I would have known in the beginning how difficult this business is, I wouldn't have started the whole business. But I'm lucky I didn't know on that time. In my life, I don't typically list things that I would want to avoid or I don't want to do. Or where I have failed. I always watch to the future, so it's really difficult to answer from my side for this one. But I don't think we have done too many bad mistakes here.
That's great. That's a great answer. You don't want to have a lot of mistakes, although some of the mistakes that you make are all learnings, especially in the entrepreneurial journey. So it's good that you don't have too many, but you probably have just a few. Do we have
maybe like the biggest mistakes which are still positive are onboarding the wrong customer, or really taking the business that I knew immediately that this is wrong and we cannot help this customer, but we still took the customer because customer wanted to work with us. So those are the couple of customers who have really sucked energy from us, but we haven't been able to give them us that much that they have needed.
I think that's a great lesson. Is just if you have a toxic customer or a partner, just like a business partner, like just move it along and just keep going, because there's better things on the horizon.
Yeah.
Okay, we have James Williams. How did you know when you had the right idea?
I think that the thing is that as I explained here in the beginning, how we get started, the challenges I found in the US, my own personal experience. So it was like, okay, now there are too many signals that guides me to the right direction or this direction. So I thought that, okay, this must be the right idea. Like challenges I heard in the US, my personal experience with my daughter, and the fact that I found a team, fact that I found an initial funding. So many things put together. And I thought, okay, this must be right. It's now or never.
Totally, all the cosmos coming together to make it all work out. Paolo BTO, do you have any plans to bring your solution to Latin America markets, to Brazil, for example?
That's a great question. I hope so. I definitely hope that this will become a global solution. And from technical point of view, there are no limitations. If there's a customer, I'm definitely happy to work with such party. So why not? In the end of the day, I want to build an international business that we already have, and you just have to have right partners in countries. I know that with internal resources, you cannot scale too many countries or too many continents. You have to have right partners in right countries.
Definitely that land and expand kind of model of just really being strategic and where you're going and why you're doing it. Great. We have a question from Olivia Brown. How do you plan on growing your business in the future? Kind of just what we were just talking about.
Yeah, first of plan, like the next 2 years plan are still in Europe, in Germany, France, UK, and also we have now started planning our US entry strategy as well, and answer a question how. So what I have learned and what I also mentioned it with the previous question is that it's not only internal thing. You have to find the right partners, and in this business, when you sell to hospitals, it's really, really, really important that you have partners, you have local persons who can meet with the hospital, who can meet with the buyer, who knows the market dynamics. If you just go alone or with your internal sales force, you are doomed to fail. So
yeah, totally. I think we have one more question from John Becker. If you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be? So just one. I know we had answered 3, but we want one more.
that is the follow your heart. And trust your own head. Do what feels best.
I think that's an amazing place to end this conversation, is to trust your heart, do what feels best, and just trust who you are and what you have to bring to this world. So super excited to chat with you today, learn how Buddy Healthcare is bringing so many solutions to support hospitals and the clients that are part of these hospitals, especially during these COVID-19 times. What you guys are doing is incredible. I'm excited to follow you guys along. Where's the best place to follow Buddy Healthcare?
I think that it's either in LinkedIn or our Facebook channel or Twitter at Buddy Healthcare. All those 3 channels.
Okay, so everybody find them on social media, follow them, like, subscribe, all the things. Check out their website at buddyhealthcare.com. And we just really thank you for joining us today. And for everybody out there watching, looking forward, you can follow me, same things, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Kate Talbot too. And let's all connect and stay friends while we're in this shelter in place all together, except for UC. They're actually enjoying their lives. So anyway.
Thank you, Kate.
Have a great day, everybody. And
Have a good day.
Awesome. All right. Bye.